Alright, this weekend we didn't make it up to go hunting. I've been sick since our last trip, so we figured we'd just stay here and I could get better because our week-long trip's coming up. I figured we could get a little work done on the cross cart. I'm going to start doing my steering. As you can see, it kind of ends right here and it needs to come all the way out over here. That goes for the other side as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to straighten the wheels out how they're supposed to be. And then I've got this rod that I went out and bought. So I'm going to measure what I need, cut it out of that rod, and then I'm going to chop that tie rod in half. And that way I can put the metal in between that and it'll extend it. And that way I can still screw everything in and out and it still works how it should. But we'll get started with that. And then I'm going to have to put my post in that goes up into the steering wheel. I'm going to have to extend that as well. But my steering wheel is going to sit up here along right here somewhere because I'm going to have posts going across from there to there. We'll start on this and we'll see how far along we get with it. Alright, I decided I'm going to tack these to begin with instead of fully welding them, because when I measured everything out, I had this sitting all the way down like that, but I need it to be elevated so that it doesn't hit these bottom posts. I'm going to tack them for now, and we'll set everything up, and if everything lines up, we'll weld them fully, but I just don't want to mess anything up right now. I also have more of the rod just in case I need it. If I do need to go longer, it'll be easy to do. I just want to make sure so I don't make more work for myself. Alright, it looks like I have more than enough room with how I did it, because it can sit up high right there. I got to do some cross bracing right here so I have somewhere to mount that, but I also have a bunch of adjustment here, so I'm not worried about how long it is because I could still adjust it there. But I'll get those cross braces in, and then I'm going to have to cut out a plate for that to sit on, and then I'm going to have to find brackets that are just going to clip around it. Probably have to take that somewhere and get the brackets for it because I need it to be a tight fit, but I could also put them really close to this so it doesn't slide back and forth on that. But we should be good. Sometime in the future I might have to upgrade that steering because it is quite small. But for now it'll work, and yeah, we'll go from there. Alright, now that I have this brace set up right here, I can set this up to where it's going to sit somewhere in there, hopefully. And I'm hoping that that's centered. I mean, I feel like it is for the most part. So we can just set that right in the middle there, and I'm going to have a plate welded there. The next thing I have to do is go find those pieces that are going to go around right here. And then I can screw them into that plate. So I gotta run to the store and do that real quick, and then we'll come back, we'll do that plate, and then we'll get everything, then we'll get that plate welded up and we'll get some holes drilled in there, and hopefully we can get this steering bracket mounted. Alright, so I just welded in another beam right there. That way I can put a flat piece of metal all the way across that, kind of like sticking out, so that can just sit there like this and I can clamp it on. I gotta fully weld that on before I put the other metal on, just so that I can get everything welded behind it and I don't have any open spots behind it. But once we get that done, I'll cut the metal out of that and see how good I can attach it on there. So I've decided right now with these brackets, I'm just gonna put some self-tapping screws in them for now. First thing I'm gonna do is put these tie rod ends in so they sit where they need to. But if I run self-tappers in here for right now, it'll make everything a lot easier. It'll already line everything up for me. So I can just attach these onto here, throw a self-tapper in there. I can make it kind of as even as possible right now, without having to drill holes, find a bolt that fits the hole, finding a nut and everything, because I don't want to go back to the parts store right now. Just do this for now, screws itself in, and then the holes will be there for when I'm ready to do the rest of it. Like I said, in the future, it's just gonna be easy to know where the holes are for this. Try to center everything as best as possible too. See that one a lot easier. Now I'll get this one on next. This might be temporary too, might end up changing it. But I mean, if it works for the most part, it'll probably keep it the way it is, but by the looks of it, it's not gonna last too long working the way I want it to. But we'll sure try to make it last. So now that's on there. It doesn't move how I thought it was gonna, so I mean, hopefully it's gonna work the way I want. Alright, I ended up having to flip this over so it steered the right way because it was backwards. So now this is kind of sticking straight up in the air. So this is gonna have to come off of there like this, and I don't know, I mean, maybe that might work. I'll have to hook everything up and see, but might just have to bend this bracket down so that it's not sitting as steep as it is. But I'll have to put my beams in right here and across to get my steering wheel mounted first. And once the steering wheel's mounted, we'll see what angles we have to mess with and everything. Alright, the next thing I gotta do is I gotta run a post from right here up to here at an angle. I'm gonna do that on both sides, and I'm gonna run one straight across the front right here. The reason I gotta do that is because my steering is gonna come off that post and go across. There's gonna be one going from there to there, and then my steering wheel is gonna sit right there. So I gotta get those figured out so I can get that cross beam in for my steering wheel. And then I'm gonna have to extend this because that's as long as that is. But that shouldn't be too big of a deal. I'll chop it in half, and then I can shove it inside of one of these and reinforce it that way. But I'm gonna do my favorite thing now and figure out what angles to notch those at to get them to sit on there right. I got this piece in right here. It didn't completely fit right here, so I welded it in and then I beat the crap out of it to get it to bend down. The inside still hangs out a little bit, so I have to cut a couple slits in it, hit it in, and then we'll re-weld that. But I gotta get another one made up for the other side, And then after I get that other one welded in, we'll be able to put that cross beam on and hopefully get this steering wheel hung and set up to where I can see how long I need to extend this piece. So I got this cross beam in now. Didn't record any of it. Whoops, my bad. But I can do my plate now that comes off of this, because I gotta have a plate that's gonna hold some pillow blocks that my steering wheel slides into. So I'm gonna just cut another piece out of that, get it tacked on there. That one I'll probably do self-tapping screws as well, just to hold everything in for now. But yeah, we're chugging along. So I'm gonna say what I keep saying, and let's get to it. So I got this tacked up. I was off 1/8 of an inch that way, so I gotta move these blocks over a little bit, but these are the little pillow blocks that I'm using. I'm tacking the, not tacking, I'm using self-tapping screws on this one too, just so that I can get everything together, set up. Like I said, we'll change it in the, we'll add bolts before I do anything. Before it's all said and done, there will be bolts in here, but right now it just makes life a little easier, makes things go a little faster, so that way you just kind of temporarily put everything together and it'll still be held together good. But these pillow blocks, I'm putting 2 of them in here just so that the steering wheel doesn't have flex back and forth, because without it, it would sit here and go like this with just a singular bearing. So we have 2 of them. Make things a little bit easier for us. If I can get all the washers and everything together. That one goes. Boop. And these are little clamp pillow blocks too, so once they're clamped together, that's how it holds the bearing in there. So yeah, it's kind of nice. It's just that way stuff doesn't move. Granted, it can still move a little bit, but it's gonna stay stationary for the most part. That's tight. That's tight. That's tight. That's tight. So now this should just slide right in there. And we can tighten it in there. And it kind of just sits where it needs to be. I'm gonna put a quick release on this too at some point, so that we can pull that off when we're getting in and out. Because I mean, it's kind of close to you, but you can see over it. And now we get to extend the steering rod from down there up to here. So now that we got this chopped, we got to add a piece of piping. So I'm thinking about doing something like that. I obviously have to shorten this one up, but I'll put it on there a little bit, basically just like a sleeve, and then I'll tack it together. So I'll shorten that and I'll get back with you. Hopefully I can weld it to those, and hopefully that angle that it's at doesn't put it in a bind. If it does, it's not going to be that big of a deal. I can just bend that plate down like I was talking about earlier, and should free up a little bit of space. But yeah. Well, for now the steering's done. It's a little loose, but I also don't have the bolts in it yet to hold it onto the knuckles. So I mean, that might tighten it up a little bit, but I also turn them back and forth a little bit, and they don't come back straight every time. I also don't have the nuts on the ball joint, so that could be doing it as well. But everything works. I can come here. I can turn both ways. Everything works good. But like I said, steering wheel went back straight. I mean, I guess for the most part they did go back straight, so I'd call that successful. But that's all we have time for this weekend. Like I said, the only reason we didn't go hunting this weekend is because I was sick. I'm still a little sick, so hopefully I'm good by next week, because we're doing a pack-in trip. So we're going to be staying out of tents and stuff, so I need to be 100% for that. But if you liked the video, hit that like button. Also, as usual, comment if you saw something that I should do different. like I said, some of you might know more about this stuff than I do. I've never built one of these before. And also, if you like the content, hit that subscribe button. Been doing good lately with subscribers, so I'm really happy about that. Same with views. Y'all are going crazy. So thank you guys for that. I really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you guys next Wednesday.